Hey guys, so in keeping with my belief that we should not be using YouTube for anything else than social media, that this should not be a place where we pretend like we have budding TV careers and we only respond to people with more subscribers than us because we're trying to have the rub come down onto us because one day we're going to be winning that lottery. Um, I'm making this video response to just a friend of mine that I've had here on YouTube for a while. His name is Huck. His channel is Sugarland Ren. I'll link his video in the description. It was a very nice video about uh, the story of his daughter calling him a racist. And no spoilers, just watch his video. It's a darling little story. It reminded me of a different word, similar, that I had an interesting history with. And that word is bigot and bigotry. When I was 6 years old, I learned the word bigot in a friend of mine's backyard where we were playing with mud and sand in a sandbox. We were actually dipping our hands in mud and then dipping them in sand and then bending our fingers to see the little cracks form because it was fun, because we were kids. And I remember hearing some older kids and his parents saying a lot of different curse words, in different very loud conversations they had at their house, and the word bigot was thrown out, and I learned a new curse word. And at that time, I thought, just like punk and fucker and bitch, it's just something that you say to somebody who you don't like. Asshole, you know, it was just another flavor of I don't like you. So that word was in my vocabulary for a couple years, and then when I was a teenager, I learned that actually it had something to do with prejudice. And uh, if I in high school was asked to define what a bigot was, I probably would have said, well, it's probably some redneck with suspenders who doesn't like black people. And I realize that there's a little bit of irony to that, in that I would be bigoted against that person. But I was around 30 years old when I learned uh, what I'll say is probably the best definition of bigotry, because I actually looked into it, because I joined YouTube and I was part of the atheist community, and the word bigotry was thrown around a lot. So I decided I need to know for sure exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about bigotry. So I look up the etymology of it, and come to find out that actually it's a word that started as religious pejorative in French. What happened around like the 16th century is the French were making fun of the Normans being more holier than thou, and using the term by God, begod, 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 and kind of like me saying, through God's will, this be done, or oh my goodness, it was just a term that they kept on using, and so they started calling them the bigots. And then it became a gendered slur, where it actually meant more a woman who was a religious hypocrite. But quite literally, like the phonetics of the word bigot, you could break it down to by God. and it's so much easier to understand what the word actually means from that you know etymology context. It means somebody who is a part of one group and disapproves of another group based on their beliefs. And it's grown to be more than just about religion, but it's been kind of whitewashed in that respect because if you were to look up the term bigot or bigotry, say, on Wikipedia right now, go ahead and look it up, you'll find that you get redirected to prejudice. And that prejudice is like against like all sorts of things, like race, gender, handicap, whatever thing that you could be prejudiced about. And it doesn't really do you justice as far as like learning what bigotry is, because it kind of removes that religious component that looking at the actual etymology of the word would give you. And by that, it makes it a lot easier for people to live their lives without examining themselves. Do their own beliefs create bigotry inherently? Such as, am I a part of a group who seeks to spread their beliefs by converting other people? Because the assumption of my group is that the other group is bad until they become one of us. If you're a part of one of those groups, then very likely you have some bigoted beliefs about others. That's really hard for some people to wrestle with. So, in our culture, the actual definition of bigotry is not easy to come by unless you really look very hard for it. So, I went from thinking that it was just another way to say asshole to thinking that it had something to do with white people not liking black people, to what I finally learned as the definition of bigotry, which is somebody who believes that their group is better than other groups, and that's it. And it's got a very highly religious origin, and for me, when I saw the word broken down to by God, it immediately conjured images of Nazi belt buckles saying "Gott mit uns," God's with us. I know that I'm jumping from one language to another, but when I saw bigot broke down, that's immediately what my mind jumped to. Was oh yeah, there was that group of people who thought that God was on their side, and they tried to push their beliefs on other people and assimilate the whole world. And saying that right there, some people don't wonder who I was talking about just then. But I'll have you know that it's pretty open. I actually don't want to put that just on the Nazis. It's It's a lot of people. Talk to you guys later. Check out Huck's channel. It was a nice little video.